Leeks! 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 It's time for Leeks! Hi everyone, I hope you are well and have had a good week. Today I'd like to share a recipe for leeks in vinaigrette. I chose this because it's a classic dish to have up your culinary sleeve, and it's simple, inexpensive, and enjoyable to eat. Leeks are plentiful and inexpensive right now. And the items you'll need for the vinaigrette are standard larder ingredients, so they're extremely useful to have on hand. For this recipe, the vinaigrette calls for anchovies, which add a savory, meaty note or umami to complement the tartness of the vinegar and the sweet, oniony blandness of the leeks. It really works. Along with sweet, sour, salty, and bitter, umami is considered the fifth dimension of flavor in cooking, and its meaty taste is one that our tongue and brain instinctively recognizes. Umami is a power tool of flavor in your larder, and it can be found in a number of ingredients, both animal and plant-based, including tomatoes, Parmesan cheese, mushrooms, olives, seaweed, soy sauce, and miso. So back to our recipe. You can make leeks in vinaigrette as a delicious starter for a main course, or as a meal on its own, served with a fried or poached egg and some crusty bread to soak up all the sauce. And last word, it's a dish that improves with time. So you can make it today, put it in the fridge, and the ingredients can get chummy together overnight. Then take it out in the morning and let it come to room temperature just in time for lunch. I really hope you enjoy it. And so a note on some of the ingredients for the leeks in vinaigrette. This is calling into play some really essential larder ingredients, many of which, or most of which, you might already have on hand. So we've got olive oil, some red wine vinegar, some Dijon mustard, and some garlic, and a lemon. We've got the star player, the leeks, and interesting note about leeks is they've been around for millennia. The ancient Egyptians cultivated them, and the Romans were quite taken by leeks. In fact, the Emperor Nero, I learned, his nickname is Parophagus, which means leek eater, and he was very fond of leeks. Apparently, they help give you a really good speaking voice. They clear your throat. So for an orator like Nero, speaking clearly and being understood was really key. So we have leeks to thank for that. So leeks are pretty inexpensive items. They are at Tesco's. You can get them for just under £2 for a kilo. So we're using 500 grams of leeks for this recipe. So that's just under £1 actually for the leeks that we'll need for the recipe that serves 4 people. Right, anchovies. Anchovies are a great larder ingredient to have on hand. They are packed in oil, so they are long-lasting, and they pretty much can go right into your cooking with a minimal amount of fuss or preparation. Not everybody's crazy about anchovies. Some people find them too fishy, too strong tasting. But actually, when they're cooked in a recipe, they dissolve very quickly, and you won't know that they're there except for the savory umami flavor they leave behind them. Interestingly, anchovies are often added to meat dishes to give them a more meaty flavor. So for instance, leg of lamb, beef stew are recipes that often call on anchovies to make them taste more meaty. Imagine that, a fish making something taste more like meat. Well, there you have it. And if you're looking for a vegan substitute for anchovies, you could try working with Kalamata olives instead, miso paste, or seaweed. So for instance, strips of nori, hijiki, or smoked dulse if you can find it. These all work well to bring a savory umami note to a dish or vinaigrette without using an animal product. Give it a try. Let's make the vinaigrette. We need 2 cloves of garlic, so I'm just going to give that a mash to separate the cloves. There's a couple. And for the cloves of garlic, we'll trim off the root end with a paring knife. And essentially what we want with the garlic is a paste. We're going to do that with a flat blade of a knife. First of all, let's get the paper off of the cloves. So I'm just going to give that a smash carefully. And the paper comes off easily, and we've already started the breakdown of the garlic clove, which is good. Garlic, when you cut it up, tends to be a bit sticky, a bit gooey. So I'm going to add a bit of salt to the garlic cloves just to help them weep a little bit, sweat a little bit. And this will keep them from sticking to the knife and meat. All right, so carefully using the flat of the knife at the edge of the cutting board, I'm using a kind of grinding motion to mash the garlics with the flat part of the knife. You can combine this with a bit of chopping as well, just to speed up the action. Let's get that into the jar. And we'll add the rest of the ingredients. This takes 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar, and a tablespoon of lemon juice. If you don't have lemons about, you can use 3 tablespoons of red wine vinegar and omit the lemon juice. You can fish out any seeds with a fork. Done. Good pinch of salt, or 2. A teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And 6 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. You can use regular olive oil, which will be cheaper, but won't have as nice a flavor. Or if you just have vegetable oil use the vegetable oil instead. A few turns of pepper. And last but not least, the anchovies. The anchovies are packed in olive oil. Some people use this in their cooking. They don't throw it away. I'm not crazy about the taste, so I tend to just drain it out, but feel free to use it if you want to. We want about 5 or 6 anchovies in this vinaigrette. So I'm just going to fish them out. And then use a paper towel to soak up some of the oil. And then we're going to cut these thinly crossways. Great. And give it a good shake. Let's have a taste. Okay. So you'll see that the mustard also helps to emulsify the vinaigrette. This looks great. The ingredients are very finely chopped up and well distributed. Really nice. Let's cook the leeks. That's been about 15 minutes that the leeks have been boiling in well-salted water. So I just want to test that they're tender, and you just do that at the base. And yeah, this is great. I'm going to drain these now and then arrange them in the plate and dress them with a vinaigrette. So I've drained the leeks and let them cool down a bit and then plated them. Last step is to dress them with a anchovy vinaigrette, and they're ready to serve or to go into the refrigerator for tomorrow. And before serving, you may want to add a bit of salt. This is some nice flaky Maldon salt on the top. A few grinds of pepper. So I think I'll add just a bit of chopped parsley for a bit of contrasting green color. And there you go, leeks and anchovy vinaigrette. Bon appetit.